Well, hello guys. This is Katie with Vintage and Vinyl back with another great video for you today. And I am finally cooking the shrimp jello. And yes, it's the one that you all voted for in the comments. So you picked the grossest one. And that is what we will be making today. And let me tell you, it looks absolutely awful. It is just, I don't even know what people were thinking back then by putting shrimp, hard-boiled eggs, chicken broth, and other things in Jello. Just doesn't seem to go. But we're going to cook it today and see what you guys, the audience, thinks about this recipe, because I already am unsure of it. I've got shrimp and eggs, and it just doesn't look good. We've got Christina Taylor joining us this morning. Welcome, Christina. Thanks so much for being here. Sharon Delaney is here. Welcome, welcome. And yes, this is all in celebration of my 2,000 subscribers. So I can't thank you all enough for helping me reach that amazing YouTube milestone and help me get here so that we can actually be cooking the shrimp jello. So that was kind of the prize once I reached 2,000, which I'm very, very excited about. Hi, Linda Barnum. Welcome, welcome. Nancy from This Overstuffed House is here. No worries, Nancy. You have a great therapy session, and you can always catch the replay. Hey, TC, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're tuning in. Poodle is here. Cheryl Ross, thank you. Bon appetit. Well, I don't know how good this is going to be, but we'll see. TC says that honestly, shrimp and hard-boiled eggs can't be too terrible. That's true, TC. It could be worse. I mean, to be honest, because I like shrimp and I like hard-boiled eggs. Like, all these things separately are fine. We'll see if together they go well, but it's got to be better than anything with the nasty Miracle Whip and kidney beans. That was putrid, and I really don't like anything with that really strong peppery flavor from the green peppers, and so that was bad. Hi, Delbert, proud American. Welcome, welcome. Barbie is joining us. Hi, Barbie. Let's see. Chrissy's Corners for Collectors is tuning in. Yay. Dolores is here. Well, I'm doing it, but we'll see if I make it out alive with this one, man. This is just gross. It is absolutely disgusting. Hey, Angela. Hey, Tiger. Hey, Linda. Yes, I do. I'm just, wow, this is going to be interesting. Hi, Tiger. Welcome, welcome. Charlotte is here. Oh, it is, let's see, what time is it in the UK? I don't know military time. Oh, Charlotte, I'm so sorry. I don't have a way to convert that quickly. But anyway, I'm so glad that you're getting a chance to see this. So that is fantastic. Hey, AJ. Yeah, there's still time to change my mind, but you know, I am a promise keeper, and I said once I reached 2,000 I would do this, so for sure I am doing it. And we will see. Oh, it's 4:07 in the morning in the UK. I see. Well, that's early, Charlotte, but if you're up and I can keep you company, that is fantastic. 4 p.m. in the UK. Okay. That's not too terrible then. That's perfect, Charlotte. Yay. You finally caught a live that's at a good time for you. I'm very glad about that. And hello, Judy, and everybody tuning in. I appreciate that. So we are going to get started on our recipe. Now, I will say that this is sort of a marriage of two recipes, because the photo that you guys voted for actually didn't have a recipe attached to it. It was one of those recipes, or photographs, I should say, like on a Pinterest board, and it looked really gross, so I picked it, not realizing there wasn't a recipe for it. But luckily, there are plenty of other shrimp jello recipes on the internet, so it wasn't too hard to trace down. Now, the one that I found, the only difference is it has broccoli in it. The first one does not. So thankfully, I don't like broccoli all that well, so we are just going to leave that out since it wasn't in the first recipe or the picture that you guys voted for. And we're subbing the broccoli for eggs, so it's pretty simple. So basically, we're just taking out the broccoli from this recipe on mastercook.com. We are leaving the mixed vegetables in that was in the previous recipe and then adding eggs. So basically that's all we're doing. But yeah, broccoli and I don't get along too particularly well. Hey, Carrie, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And I'm sorry, guys, for the short delay. We had some technical difficulties with my microphone. It's always hard when I film in the kitchen to figure out how I'm going to be able to show you guys what I'm doing and still have microphones. So I decided to forego the microphone. So hopefully you guys hear me okay with just the computer mic. And I really enjoy having that stand mic, but it just won't work for this. And so hopefully in the future I can get a little bit fancier rig. Oh, Dolores, yes, thank you. I love this apron. LJ from the chat got this apron for me, and it is a vintage Fruit of the Loom apron, and it has pockets. Now, how awesome is that? See, you've got little pockets on the side. This apron is fabulous. I love this apron. It fits, and you know, if you watch Tarnished Treasures, Karina, which I love her channel, she always talked about buying aprons that go over your head, so they're more like a shirt style, you know, and I never really understood how awesome those are until I have one. And when LJ sent me this one from Fatbird Finds and I tried it on, I mean, it was perfect. And I love this style apron. I will never wear another style apron. It is fantastic. So yay, thanks LJ. It is fabulous. I know. Oh, it just looks so bad. So let's revisit the photo that you guys voted for. So here it is. Doesn't that just look yummy? I don't know why on God's green earth anybody chose such a thing, but they did, and they thought it went well together. Now, ironically, I was talking with my grandmother, and she told me that she thinks that all of these Jello molds are really good. And that literally shocked me. And her favorite one would be my worst nightmare, cucumber Jello. But apparently she loves it. And she got out her little Joys of Jello book and was like, oh, you should make this one. She had ones marked. I'm like, no. That just looks so bad. But, you know, to each their own. If they like it, then fantastic. But I don't care for the Jello. Now, plain Jello, I like, you know, red Jello, little Jello cubes and whipped cream and maybe marshmallows. Like, those aren't bad. But shrimp Jello, I don't think so. So let me tell you some of the ingredients in this recipe. And I'm going to pull it up again on my phone. So they want 10 ounces of cocktail shrimp. So what I did was, I couldn't get cocktail shrimp this close to Thanksgiving. I think a lot of people are buying it for their parties. So I went ahead and I got medium cooked, peeled and deveined shrimp with the tail on. So you can buy this. It comes frozen, and then you just thaw it out in your fridge. It's pretty easy. This is Publix brand. Any brand will work for you. You also will need hard-boiled eggs. Now, I was thinking about boiling my own eggs. And then I was talking with Christy or Carrie, I don't remember which now, and they mentioned that, oh, you might want to get pre-hard-boiled eggs. One, it's easier. Sorry, Nate. Nate thinks that's so crazy here that we have such convenience in the U.S., but also because they'd be perfectly cold, and that might help the Jello set up. And so I agree. So I went ahead and took the easy route and got packaged hard-boiled eggs. You can find these in your deli. I don't even know what brand this is. Delble. Not sponsored by any of these brands. These are the ones that I got. And so this will work. 6 eggs, I figured, should be enough. But you can buy them in larger packages like this if you want. But I think it will help set the Jello up, because last time I did the Jello, I think my problem is that the water that we had made with the Jello didn't get cold enough in the fridge. So when I poured it all together, it kind of was runny. It never really set up. So I'm trying to get as much cold stuff as I can to help this gelatinous creation come to be. So we're going to try the cold eggs and see what that does. I also have chicken broth. Now, I have no idea why on God's green earth chicken broth is going in with this whole mess. But apparently it is. So you got to get yourself some chicken broth. And they want 3.5 cups of chicken broth. Yeah, 3.5 cups. That's a lot. You're also going to need Knox unflavored gelatin. This is 1 pack package of it. Now, what's interesting about the Knox, unlike the Jello brand, and I don't think Jello brand makes unflavored gelatin that I know of. I've never seen it at our store. They don't tell you the ratio of how to actually make this. So I'm not 100% sure how much water to Jello you need. I'm assuming it's like a 1 cup ratio, but I'm not 100% sure. So I was looking at this earlier and I couldn't seem to figure it out. So sometimes your recipe will actually tell you. But last time, I'm not sure my recipe was accurate on that. So we will see. It says you need 2 tablespoons of unflavored gelatin. And this is, see, they don't mark these little packages. I'm assuming 2 tablespoons would be just like 1 package. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to have to kind of wing that. And then the other thing you need is 1 can of mixed vegetables. So this mixed vegetable lot has carrots, peas, corn, and this one also has lima beans and then green beans. So you can kind of get a different variety of mixed vegetables if you don't like what's in here. But corn and peas were in the original photo. So that's interesting. Let's see. Yeah, unflavored gelatin, because the last one had lemon Jello in it. Ugh, I don't know. That just wasn't good. Yeah, probably LaDonna. But, I think my elderly neighbor would like this. And I say this every time. All of you guys are like, why would you do that to her? Well, my elderly neighbor actually loves these Jello molds. She's another person in my life that thinks they're really good. And so I will take this to her because she makes these on the regular for herself. And she thinks they're really delicious. So this might be a really good meal for her for the next couple of days. This is not a joke. She really does like them. I'm not being mean or feeding her terrible things. She eats these herself. So she probably will think that this is a delicious treat. So maybe I can give it to her so it doesn't go to waste. Because otherwise I'm just going to throw it away. Let's be honest. It's probably going to be really gross. Wow, this recipe gets worse. Yes, it does, Larry Riley. I agree. Yeah, you got to use a measuring spoon. So we have to figure out what ratio it is for the unflavored gelatin. Yeah, I mean, if it had asked for flavored gelatin, I'd be like, what in the world are you doing? Let's see. Oh, no, from can of mixed vegetables. Yeah, not everyone likes the mixed vegetables. Fresh vegetables are the best, but who is going to boil all of those things individually for this recipe? Probably not. Yeah, my neighbor's adorable. She's so cute. She is very spicy and fun, and I just think she's great. Now, the other thing that we'll be needing for this recipe is a Jello mold, and thanks to Daniel over at Tacky As Me, I now have my very own true vintage Tupperware Jello mold. So we have that fun old Tupperware graphic. I don't know if that's going to show up, but it's got the little Tupperware up at the top, molded into the plastic, and it's this fun mint green color. So I am excited about this Jello mold. It is going to be very fun. And yeah, for a chicken pot pie, that's probably right, LaDonna. That would make a sense. That would be a perfect use of that. So those are the ingredients that we have. Now we need to figure out the ratio to the gelatin because I don't want to mess this up this time. It doesn't say. See, and it gives you a recipe for fruit Jello. And I thought, okay, well, I'll use that. And then it says use 4 envelopes. Makes 9 dozen. Well, we don't need that much. So I don't know. Let's see. Oh, Cheryl Ross to the rescue. She Googled. She says 2.5 teaspoons of gelatin to 2 cups of water. Okay, so we can do that. So we're going to get our water boiling. That's the first thing that we need to do. And Lily won't even eat it. And she's eaten worse stuff. But yeah, she won't eat the Jello. So we're going to get our 2 cups of water to 2.5 teaspoons of the Knox gelatin. So we probably don't need the entire package then. So let's get our 2 cups of water. I've already got a pot onto the stove. And I'll try to adjust where you guys can see what's going on in my kitchen here. So we'll get our 2 cups of water. We're going to put this in the pot and at least get it boiling. Jello blooms, it gets larger, so I don't know. We'll just give this a go and see how much we need. And I guess we could make more. Maybe we would need 4 cups. I think we probably need more because that doesn't look like a lot of water to me. So maybe 4 cups, and then we'll just, follow along with that ratio there. So let's do that. And I'm just winging this. I don't make Jello often for myself. Now, I suppose I could look at the Jello box from the time before and see what it says. I still have the lemon Jello. Let's see. It says, okay, here's something. It says directions. 1 cup boiling water. Okay. Makes 4 1/2 cup servings. But they say to use the entire package here on this Jello box. I promise you guys I can cook. I just don't do a lot with Jello. So this is kind of, and if I buy Jello, like I don't feel well and I want Jello, I usually just buy it in the cups. I don't make Jello in mass quantities for any reason at all other than this. So let's see. Stir in. Okay, mixed gelatin. Yeah. Speed test method. What in the world is that? Okay, I've done the cold water. I don't know. We'll just give this a go. We'll just see. Oh, okay. As far as for setting up, you can put it in the freezer. Oh, that's very clever, TC. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so what we're going to do is get all of that boiling on the stove. I'm going to turn on the heat, which I thought I did. I don't think that I did. And then we will bloom our Jello in there. And I'm going to set you guys up here so you guys can see what I'm doing here in the kitchen. So the first thing we need to do is just basically mix all of our ingredients together. This is a super simple recipe. Compared to some of the other Jello, there's not a lot of prep or chopping or anything that's involved. And so all we need is to really get a bowl and just put all of our ingredients in it until we're ready to mix it with the Jello. So what we're going to do first is get our chicken broth. And it says that we need 3 1/2 cups. So I'm going to put that into the bowl, and I have a 2 cup measure here. You can buy these larger if you like. And that is a lot of liquid, I will say. You wonder when you do these recipes, like, why 3 1/2 cups? That's almost this whole container. Huh. That is a lot. But they say to do it just to mix it all in. So we will see. Oh, Scott's joining us from the old Curiosity Shop. I'm about to make a grilled cheese while watching you with the nasty shrimp. Scott, your grilled cheese sounds so much better than this shrimp. I have no idea what this is going to taste like, but I bet you it's going to be horrible. But man, grilled cheese sounds good. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let's see what else it says. Now, it says the shrimp cocktail, which we have, and then, of course, our mixed vegetable lot. So we're going to pour this whole can in here. They mentioned the whole can, and I've got a can opener here, and we will just dump it in. Now, I think, I'm going to drain it. They don't say, but there's already a lot of liquid going in here, so I don't think that it needs to be this way with all the liquid. So I'm just going to drain. I'm not going to rinse. They don't say to rinse. I'm just going to drain and pour that right down the sink. And then we will put our mixed vegetables right in there. And yeah, that's just interesting. So we're going to get that into our bowl. And then I'm not going to put the hard-boiled eggs in just yet, but we will get them chopped. And we're going to go ahead and put our shrimp in there because the shrimp will need to combine with the flavors of our chicken broth to get that flavor, because there's no salt or seasoning added to this. So whatever flavor is going on the shrimp and the vegetables has to be from the chicken stock. So it mentions that we want about 2 cups frozen shrimp. So, you can kind of measure that out here. I'm going to use my regular measure. Now, this is interesting. This recipe says that you're supposed to leave the tails on. I don't think so, because the tails would be hard. And I don't know how you would get that out of the Jello. So I'm actually going to take the tails off because I just don't think that you need tails in Jello. That just sounds awful. Like, why add the insult to the injury? The thing's already bad enough as it is, and you want us to leave the tails on. I mean, no. I think we're just going to take that right off. Now, of course, that's the wonderful thing about cooking, is you can do what you want. You don't have to listen to the recipe if you think it's weird. Before adding hot water, Cheryl Ross says, okay, let me go back and read your comment, Cheryl. Let's see. And yeah, no tails needed. I don't think so. So I'm just going to measure this out. In fact, I've got, well, these are shrimp. They're cooked, so I'm not going to worry about that. Let's see. Katie, let me go back and 1 pouch equals 1/4 cup cold water, and then add 1/4 cup boiling water. Oh, okay. Good, Cheryl. I'm glad you found that out. So 1/4 cup cold water for the Jello, 1 pouch. Okay, so we will do that, Cheryl, and then I will adjust what's on the stove there. We'll just measure out 1/4 cup. So thank you, Cheryl, for doing that. Yeah, it's really weird that Knox Gelatin didn't have the instructions on the package, which is weird. You would think that they would, but they don't. So what I'm doing is just taking the tails off and putting them in here. Yeah, they probably are, Brenda, just for the aesthetic, but I mean, if you're going to be cutting into this, I don't think you need the tails. Now, I like fried shrimp tails. I've eaten seafood my whole life. I love all types of seafood. And I've eaten fried shrimp tails before, and they're very good. But I just don't know about this in the cold Jello, so we'll see. Hey, Lisa Day, your first Jello Live. Yay, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Let's see what TC is saying. I'll try to highlight some comments, but I've got shrimp on my hands. In this case, would you use the chicken broth as the cold water? Well, see, TC, that's what I'm wondering. But it doesn't say. It just says to add it all together like that, which is really bizarre. The recipe is not particularly clear. So I don't know. I really don't know. And this is just something we're experimenting with. But maybe you're right. Maybe the chicken stock will also do the Jello. So I don't know, but it's not cold though. So we'll see. This recipe just says to mix it all together in a giant bowl and then stir in gelatin and then put into mold and then put into the refrigerator. So we'll see. I am just adding the shrimp to my 2-cup measure here. Usually I would use a dry measure for something like this or weigh it, if I were really doing this. But for today, I think you can be a little bit more loosey-goosey with the vegetables and the shrimp. Now, what I will do is probably flavor the shrimp then, and then we will try to use the chicken broth, as people are suggesting in the chat, for blooming the gelatin. I don't know if that will work, but we will give it a try. and see what happens. That might be exactly what it is. And we can still salvage it. And I do think, though, the chicken broth had some sort of flavor because there is no salt or other type of seasoning in this recipe. So we've got about 2 cups of shrimp. I don't want to waste this other shrimp because it will be really, really good as a treat later, not in the Jello. So we are going to save the rest of the shrimp because you don't need the whole bag for a yummy treat later, since I love shrimp. We've got water on the stove boiling now. I'm going to wash my hands. We'll take that off the heat. I think we've got too much water now for that. And we are going to then see about the stock. Yeah, no, it asks for 1 package of Knox unflavored gelatin, and then it asks for the chicken stock, and the recipe says to add chicken stock, mix vegetables, shrimp into a bowl mix, and then add the Jello and then put into the container. So let's see. Then it says cook the Jello according to package. Well, the package didn't say anything. So yeah, we can try this. We'll just give this a try because maybe that makes sense, because I think it's probably too much liquid, to be quite honest with you. That was my worry because it looks like a lot. So we will see what happens here with this. I promise you, when I am cooking other things that actually have a more followable recipe, I am a very good cook. But this Jello stuff is a whole nother world. So let's try this. We're going to give this a go. I'm going to get another bowl, and I'm going to put the Jello in here. And we're just going to see if this works. So we'll bloom the Jello and the chicken stock. That's kind of cool. And then we will add a little bit of the hot. They do mention 1/4 cup of water. So I'm assuming that's for the Jello. So we're just gonna give this a try. And we're going to stick with our 1/4 cup measure that Cheryl was mentioning earlier in the chat. So we will give that a try. So I've got another measuring cup here. And we're just going to try this and see what happens, and hopefully this works. So we've got almost 1/4 cup of the chicken stock. Okay, and we're going to put that with our Jello and stir that around, and then we will get something hot once this sits for about a minute, Cheryl said. So we are going to mix this together, let it swell up and get incorporated. And this is what we've got right now. So I'm just going to mix that together and then let it sit. It is already starting to bloom a little bit in that chicken stock. So I don't know. We'll give it a try. We'll give it a try. And I can add a little bit of this to our water for flavoring. And then we'll just put that in with the Jello. So I don't know. We'll give it a try. I'll get this kind of warm back up again and see what happens. And then we can always strain out our vegetables out of that liquid if we feel that it's too much, because it might very well be. So we'll just give that a go and see. Now, in the meantime, while that Jello is doing its thing, we are going to chop up our eggs. And it's interesting because in the picture that is in the actual photo that I shared, I think that they've done a very interesting method of chopping these eggs. They've done them sort of at an angle, but maybe that's just how the mold is curved. So I'm just going to do slices. Let me get rid of the shrimp tails here, and I'll be right back with you guys and get our board cleaned up. And then we'll be able to chop some wonderful eggs. Now, the shrimp is already cooked So there isn't a risk of raw seafood on anything. So that is a good thing. You don't have to be too particularly careful with the shrimp. And then I'm going to get out, I'm going to use a small paring knife because it's so funny. All of you guys mention my giant chef's knife makes me look a little bit axe murdery. So we're just going to use a small paring knife today for this. I can't boil an egg to save my life. Yeah, they're hard. Delbert, I'll tell you a trick. The best way with hard-boiled eggs is to get them in cold water right away, like an ice bath. Let them sit, and then the peel should come off. Now, I've also heard that if you blow on the egg, it helps as well. So I don't know if that's true or not. So I'm going to cut these into thin slices, and that way we can still see the egg. So we're going to do little slices like this so that you can see the inside, and that's the closest I think I can get to that picture. And of course, the more even that you are with your slices, the better it is. You want consistency, with all of your slices. And we'll just do this with all of our eggs. And that way that we've got a lot of the egg to go around. And I'm going to kind of do this last. I'm not going to put it in right now. That way we can get it kind of placed around the outside of the mold and try to make it look as pretty as possible. Let's see. Okay, Love is saying cold water right away. Yeah, that's the best way to do it for the hard-boiled eggs. And Delbert, I have a little egg timer, which I love. I don't know if you guys have seen those. I shared that in my video with one of the cooking videos I've done. And you just put it in with your ingredients, your eggs, as they're boiling. And once it reaches that line that's hard, they're done. It's very easy. Or you can put a timer on for about 10 minutes. No, Louie hates the Jello. Some of it fell on the floor the first time I did it, and she and she ran away from it. She spit it out. Mind you, Louie eats everything. Louie has eaten wasabi and sushi. She has eaten the head off of a girly candle. She ate about four pieces off of a strand of some Christmas lights. She ate a shiny bright. And I'm very careful with her, but she gets all of these things that you're so careful, like you put them up and she still finds a way to get into them. What is Linda saying? She says, Katie, that what I do, or peel under cold water. Yeah, peel under cold water does help a lot too. So we may not need actually all of the eggs. I was thinking that 6 seemed about right, but there's already a lot of egg slices here. And I don't think, now I know this sounds kind of wasteful, but in that mold, I don't think they use the ends. So if you want to use these for something else, you certainly can. There are 2 eggs left. You might as well, I guess, go ahead and throw them in. But you can just see how many you think you need. And then any of the egg parts that do not have the yolk, I would use for something else, or salt and eat yourself so you're not wasting it. But that way, you've got exactly what's in the photo. Now, they have, I think, cut it a different way. I don't know exactly how they have gotten that weird shape. The only thing I could think of is that they went in with the egg like this, and it's almost like they've done it like this. It's a very odd way of cutting the eggs. But it's strange. I'm just doing my best based on the picture. So we're just doing rounds. It also seems like that this is a bit more yellow. So I don't know if they didn't totally hard boil them. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, an egg slicer. TC, an egg slicer would be great for this too. Yeah, you don't have to do this all by hand. Yeah, she ate wasabi. That was a fun night. Not really. I had to take her to the ER because she didn't feel well, and they had to give her medicine, and it was a whole thing. But ironically, you would think a little dog as small as Louie can't jump. Oh no, you'd be wrong. I have that big round spool table in my apartment, which I've shared before over on Instagram. And she springboarded off of the couch and leaped onto the center of the table and gobbled. I mean, she's so fast. That's the thing. You can't get anything away from her because she is so fast. So she gobbled it, like snarfed it like that, like in just a split second. And I was like, I mean, barely you could blink before it was gone. And you look down and the whole sushi tray is spilled over onto the floor. The wasabi and like several pieces of sushi are gone. Now, I don't know why Louie thought that would be a good idea to eat it, but she gobbled it all up and unfortunately paid the price later, but I'm really glad she was okay. And then she gets to the Jello and she won't eat that. So that tells you something. If Louie won't eat the Jello is gross. So, yeah, they might just be barely hard boiled, TC, because I was looking at that photo too. Now, there's another recipe I found that has the eggs hard boiled. So you just have to take liberties with these things. If you can't actually find the molds online, you can just do your best with different recipes and make something that works. Okay, so our Jello has bloomed, and we are going to now add our 1/4 cup of hot water and our chicken broth. And I'm just going to kind of ladle it out of here. And we're just going to put that in and mix it together and get that Jello incorporated back into this. And let's see. Hopefully that will thicken up. You guys let me know if you think that this is enough Jello. It's enough liquid. It's one package. But I think maybe we do need all of that liquid because there's only that much of the Jello. And of course that will get bigger, and everything to make it gelatinous. But we'll see. We'll see how this all goes. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. Everyone's agreeing with the half hard boiled stuff. So we've got our shrimp. Now I am going to put this in with our vegetables because that's what the recipe says to do, and with the liquid. And maybe we do need all of that liquid. I kind of think that maybe that's the case because it's gonna fill this whole Jello mold. So yeah, I'm gonna vote that we do need all the liquid. You guys can let me know on that and tell me in the chat what you think. I am doing this sort of blind, which hopefully makes it a little bit funnier, but it is hard to it's hard to see. Maybe we could strain some of it out. I don't know. It's hard to tell with these things, especially with a recipe that's pretty old that you're using from the 50s. And I think this is a 50s recipe. So I'm going to set you back down so you guys can see what I'm doing with the mold and the Jello. And we got to get it cold. And I like what someone had suggested about putting it in the freezer. So we've got more liquid off to the side if we need it, if we decide that we do for the Jello. But I think that will be enough for the Jello. And let's see here. So we've got our eggs evenly and as thinly sliced as possible. It's kind of hard to do with hard-boiled eggs. And then let's see. Okay, Cheryl says, I think from what I'm reading, 1 pouch with 2 cups of liquid should get a firm result. Cheryl's been doing our research, so she's our resident expert. Okay, so 1 pouch with 2 cups of liquid. Because see, I was thinking there needs to be more liquid here. So we've already done a 1/4 cup. So we're just going to add some more liquid to that. In fact, I'm just going to pour this right into my measuring cup off the stove, accounting for the fact that we already have a 1/4 cup. And I'm just going to pour this right in. I think you're right, Cheryl. I think it needs it. And then maybe we drain out some of that liquid. So we'll give that a go. Okay. Hi, Tim. No, you came in just in time. Now you've missed some of the prep, but I'll go over that again. So I'll talk about that now. And I appreciate Cheryl. Thank you so much for your research with the Jello. I mean, this is a learning process because I don't cook Jello every day. You know, this is not something I eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Thank the Lord. So I am doing this on a kind of every so often basis. Okay, let's see. Katie, the other Katie. Hello. Oh no, I won't be eating this for breakfast. I have my coffee here, so this is my saving grace of the day. I at least have something yummy here in the midst of all of this nastiness. mm. Now I'll say, all of this by themselves would probably be pretty good. Like the shrimp, I love shrimp. I love hard boiled eggs. I like chicken stock and things. I like vegetables, but together, like, who invented these things is what I want to know. Did somebody say, I think we need to have this for dinner? Like, did they go into their pantry and say, well, shoot, we don't have a lot of things to make an entire meal, so let's make one. And and just put it together. Oh, Cheryl, no, I won't drain any liquid with the gelatin, but there's a lot of liquid in with our vegetables and our shrimp. So maybe that's where I need to drain some of that liquid off. The recipe is not clear. They just basically say dump everything into a bowl, make Jello according to package, and combine, which is not particularly helpful in this case. Let's see. Yeah, I got that. Let's see. How did you become associated with the Jello? Jennifer asked. That's a good question. I did a 1950s Jello mold. And it was something I saw people were selling, in live sales, all of these recipe books. And there was a couple with these really weird Jello ones. And I thought, this would be really funny to try. Like, I ought to make one of these for a video. So I got a Jello recipe book from, I don't remember, I'm sorry who my first person was I purchased one from, but I got one from one of the live sales. And I just was reading through it and I thought, this is just the strangest thing ever. Like, why would people be eating these things? And I would start to see Jello like everywhere in all of these cookbooks. And I thought, okay, I got to do this. This would be hilarious. So I made the Jello, and then I ate it on camera, and everyone thought it was the funniest thing they had seen. I was getting screenshots of me eating the Jello, and I thought, okay, I got to do this again because obviously people like it. It's what the viewers want to see. So that's how I got associated with the Jello. And now people send me Jello recipe books. The Jello has caught on. And I didn't expect it to. It was going to be like a one-time thing. And then here we are, three Jello videos later. But you're lucky I love you guys to do this enough, because this is absolutely nasty. The Jello cookbook that my grandmother has is called Joys of Jello, and I think TC they made several versions of it. It's a spiral bound book, and it has a Jello parfait on the front. And of course, some of the recipes in there actually do look good. They have quite a few dessert Jello recipes, so it's a good Jello book to start out with if you're looking for a vintage cookbook, because it's got things that would probably be good, like Jello with marshmallows, Jello with pineapple, some of your more dessert Jellos. And then they also have regular nasty Jello in there, so you kind of get a mix and you're not locked into just all of the weird like dinner Jello molds. So yes, and it's the Jello that got me to 2,000 subs. That's right. And so we are celebrating the big 2,000 today. Aspect, that's a good question, Poodle. What is the difference between Jello and aspect? I don't 100% know. I know there's tomato aspect, and I think is aspect. I've looked that up before. I'm not sure, Poodle. That's a good question. In fact, let's have a gander on Google and see what that is. So the difference. Okay, so first of all, what is aspect? Aspect. I'm probably saying that wrong. Let's see. It's a savory jelly made from meat stock set in a mold and used to contain pieces of meat, seafood, or eggs. So I guess you can have different aspects because here, oh no, oh no, 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 chicken aspect. Oh no, folks, that looks awful. And it's in one of those fish molds. Yikes. Okay, and then here's oh, 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 that looks vomit worthy. What is that? Oh, that's salami. Nope. Oh, oh, now this one's bad. I don't know what this is at all. Holy moly. Ugh. And this one has eggs in it and those dreaded peppers. Oh, sorry, Scott, who's having a lovely grilled cheese and watching this. He's probably like, nope, I'm good. Thank you. Oh, no. Now, this one looks like cat food. I don't even want to know what that is. That is absolutely awful. Okay, so maybe I will eat one of those if I get to like 5,000 subscribers. That would have to be a big milestone for me to eat one of those. But that's gross. That is a whole nother level of gross. No, thank you. TC said Julia Child, which I love her, made some aspects on her classic French chef black and white TV shows. She claimed they were delicious and looked inedible. You know, but maybe they are good. Maybe I'm missing out on something. Let's see. Oh, Scott comes in with a good answer. He says, oh, aspic was a staple at all of the Methodist covered dish dinners I remember as a kid in the 70s. Scott, did you like it? Were they any good? That's what I want to know because they absolutely look atrocious. I don't know. It's, yeah, reduced marrow. I was going to say marrow, but I wasn't 100% sure. Oh, it takes a long time to simmer down. Oh, boy. Yeah. Hi, Stephanie. That's a great way to enter alive, isn't it? Gagging. Because that looks bad. Just think what you'll be eating when you get to 1 million subscribers. Oh, no. Well, I don't know if I'll ever get to that day. I'm truly honored with 2,000. But if I do, I will promise. You heard it here, folks, as Barbie saying, I will do something absolutely awful for that. For you guys to celebrate a big milestone. So let's see how this is going on with the Jello here. Now this is probably all mixed together. It does need, this part needs to be cooled. I did learn that from the first time. So I'm letting it cool off. In fact, I'm going to put this mixture here that we have with the Jello into the refrigerator to cool off so that it's the rest of the temperature as the other things going on over here. And so we'll see how this goes on, and we'll just continue to chat until this is cooled off, and then we'll mix it together and get it going. Okay, I'm gonna set that in the fridge to get nice and cold and cool off a little bit so that hot liquid doesn't go in with everything. Let's see, Scott, what are you saying, Scott? I also need a bit of a paper towel. Let me grab that. I always should have towels nearby when I do this because there's always water from something. So I'm just going to wipe that up so it doesn't run into my computer. And at some point, if I do enough of these guys, I will get a computer stand for the kitchen so you guys can see a little bit better. It would be really cool if I could have multiple camera angles and stuff for the lives, but I don't know how to do that just yet. We'll figure that out eventually and get all of that together. Let's see. We'll let you choose what to eat when you get there. That's right, Jennifer. I'll let you guys vote again. Patrick, he was so funny. Patrick said, you're crazy. You let them pick your fate. I'm like, well, I had to give them some incentive. So, yeah, that helped getting to 2,000, letting you guys pick, I think. Scott's saying he doesn't remember them being too nasty, but the old church ladies have been making them. Yes, that's true. If someone from the church has been cooking for a while, and they're older, they typically have really, really good food, and they just know how to make all these recipes. So I'm sure they weren't that bad. Scott's probably right there. Let's see. If Knox would sponsor or Jello would sponsor my videos, that would be kind of cool. I would do a partnership with them. Of course, I think it would be funny because they'd probably be horrified to see what I'm making with their product, especially if I say that it's bad. I don't know how that partnership would go. Oh, thanks, Larry. Well, I'll try anything once. I am not afraid to try anything once. I will say I draw the line at maybe bugs. Like we were talking about this last night, Carrie and I, about like Amazing Race and some of those shows where they have to go eat bugs and worms and stuff. No, I would draw the line there. I couldn't do that. But I could do anything else. Like I'm not afraid to try things at least once and give it a go. Let's see. TC says we never got aspects at our church dinners, just a lot of green bean and tater tot casseroles. Oh yeah, TC, I grew up with the green bean tater tot casseroles. Let's see what else at the church we had. Oh, there was a lady that made amazing fried chicken. I love fried chicken, mashed potatoes, good collard greens. Like when they're really good, they have to be stewed down for hours. But I love collard greens. I love good black eyed peas. That's another, you got to cook them with the ham hock and all that fat to make them really good. But man, that is good cooking. Those are fantastic. And really, really highly recommend all that good Southern cooking. It's probably not too healthy for you, but it's delicious. And oh man, you can't beat fried chicken. And here we have a place that is known for their fried chicken and waffles, and it is to die for. They make a butter to go along with it that's actually a strawberry jam butter, and you put it on the waffles and you put the chicken, and they have their syrup. Oh, it's stellar. It is stellar, stellar, stellar. Let's see. TC says, we had a lady that made amazing scallop potatoes. Oh, covered with bacon and onions. Oh, TC, that sounds wonderful. And do you remember going, at least in our church, we had a lady that would go around and she'd make little bags of candy, and it brought her so much joy to do. And she would bring all the kids at the church dinner candy. And so she and adults too, but she really liked all the kids from Sunday school because she was a Sunday school teacher, and she would have like mints. It was like those little peppermints, the white kind that melt in your mouth that are so good. They're like lifesaver mints. And then the kind of typical older person's candy that has the strawberry wrapper with the cream savers and all that in a little bag, and she'd bring it by, and I always thought that was so special as a kid. Did you ever eat poke beans? I don't think so, Larry Riley. What are those? Maybe there's something that I've heard of and there's another name for them. Oh yeah, buttermilk biscuits are the best. My dad makes some really good biscuits from scratch. Oh, I love shrimp and grits, LaDonna. Oh, I just, that is so good. Yeah, Scotch mints. Yes, yes, yes. Those are delicious. And the little butterscotch candies, that was fun. I shall return. You have to pop over to Two Hip Chicks. Oh, you go back over there, TC, and enjoy. Tell them hello for me. And it's a gaming premiere, so I don't think there'll be any records. But if there is a record sale, I hope you get something good. TC is my fellow vinyl lover in the chat. I thought I wasn't going to get hungry at this event. I know, because this looks so bad. Yes, after dinner mints and salted peanuts tied up in a white netting. Oh, yes, Scott. We had those little clear bags, and she would tie them with little twist ties, and so good. TC, yeah. Just found another shrimp Jello mold. They use 1/4 cup of water and 3.5 stock to 2 tablespoons of gelatin. Okay. Well, we will see what happens, Cheryl. We'll give that a try. So in the refrigerator, I have 1/4 cup of water with a little bit of stock, and then a fourth, and then I have the rest of it. No, I have a fourth. Hang on, I have a fourth a cup of stock, and then the and then minus the fourth a cup, but 2 cups, if that makes sense. I'm trying to convert this in my head. It's not working, but you guys get what I'm saying. Of water with a little bit of chicken stock. So, okay, Cheryl, we will try this out. And then they use 3.5 cups of stock to 2 tablespoons of gelatin. Well, okay, so Cheryl, do you know if how much is one of these packets? I wonder if this Jello says. The Knox doesn't say. I guess I could measure one of these things out, although this is bigger than the Knox because this makes a whole lemon dessert. This is just the unflavored. So, well, I don't know why this doesn't say. It looks about to, you say teaspoons or tablespoons? Yeah, this looks to be about 2 tablespoons of Jello in here. What do you guys think? I think, I don't know if it's going to show up, but yeah, I think that's about 2 tablespoons. If I were doing that quickly in my head, yeah, I think so. So yeah, we might have that just perfectly then, Cheryl. We'll give that a try. Scott's saying I use Mary Jane candy at church because the wrappers didn't make any noise. Scott, the Mary Jane candy is so good. My mom used to go to the hospital because it was the only place that had it, and I don't know where you can get it other than Angela's been finding some for me. But they're peanut butter candies, and they're kind of crunchy, but then they melt in your mouth. So it's like peanut butter, and it comes in a log. It's not the peanut butter logs. There's another name for it, and the wrapper is striped. It's like an old-fashioned, probably penny store, dime store candy that's been around for ages. And my mom used to go and get these from the hospital for, I don't know, 10 cents, 12 cents maybe. They had a big container of them. And she would bring them along, and we'd get them sometimes in church. It was a big deal when the church kind of, everyone started chewing gum because that wasn't really allowed in church. It was something I guess people considered disrespectful, something you didn't do. And for some reason, there was a switch where everybody just started chewing gum one day. And so my mom would bring gum to keep us kids entertained, and we would have the gum, and then we would have wrappers. And it was so fun to make things out of the wrappers. I mean, when you're like 6 or 7, church isn't particularly interesting. So you have to find a way to entertain yourself for the hour, And that was what we did with the wrappers, and that was fun. Let's see. Made from pokeweed, but it has to be cooked right because it's a poisonous plant. No, Larry, I don't think I've ever had that. That sounds very interesting. Yes. Oh, party favors were fun. And that was always exciting as a kid. We go to birthday parties, and I loved getting the little cupcake toppers. So they would have I'm sure they still make them, but for Halloween, like they would have the spider rings that you could pull off the cupcakes. Of course, they were always really goopy and gooey. Like when you pulled them off, it was like you'd have to really wash them, before you put them on your hand because they were stuck down in the icing. But that was always fun. Birthday parties were fun as a kid. And I think things are changing a lot about how people do parties. Yes. I'm still glad they're not extinct. I like party favors, and I love those little I don't know what they're called, but they're like little round containers, and they're tied, and then they're like poppers. I think poppers is the correct term. When you pop them open, they have fun little things inside. I think that's always very exciting. Hey, LJ, look, I've got the apron on today. I love this apron. It is fabulous. Let's see. With pecan logs. Yes, we had a lot of pecan logs growing up. Let's see. Squirrely nut zippers. Is that what they're called, Scott? I don't know, but they're really good, those candies. Okay, Cheryl is excellent. She's our resident researcher here. She says, darn, I had that answer. I think the pack was 2.5 tablespoons. Oh, Cheryl is great. She is doing an awesome job. Oh, no worries, Scott. Oh, autocorrect is hard, and it's hard to type. Like, I found that my autocorrect doesn't know the difference between there and there. Like, THEIR and then the other there. And so it will just randomly select one and it will send it. Like, I'll send the message and it will correct it right as I'm sending it to the wrong one. And I am so embarrassed half the time because I think people don't think that I can speak English or that I know what the correct differences are. And it happened to me in a couple of chats, and I'm always quick to correct myself because I don't want people to think that, like, I'm putting the wrong there, and I don't know. I mean, my mom was an English major, so I definitely do know the differences. But autocorrect is a real pain, and if you're trying to spell things that are vintage, it does not know. I had the worst time trying to spell cloisonne the other day because it thought it was a made up word. It also does not like the word bullacante when you're talking about the control bubbles. There's a lot of words it does not like. It also tries to automatically capitalize uranium. I have no clue why, but it's funny. It does know a lot of your guys' names in the chat. So, like Cheryl, it knows Tiafane. It automatically will start typing that because I've been doing it for so long in the chats. Let's see. Chico Stick. Is that what those peanut butter things are called? I'm not 100% sure. Oh, English crackers. Yes, those are the fun ones. Those are those little round things. Let's see. My grandson's daycare does birthday parties for each kid. The birthday kid gets their own cake and the others get a cupcake. Oh, those are fun, Brenda. We used to have wonderful birthday parties at school, and I would always bring my treat of choice when every kid would get a full size Hershey bar. I thought that was so fun. Well, the big thing was to bring cookie cakes. And so I usually would bring Hershey bars, other kids would bring cookie cakes. And we had one kid, I will never forget this, because the mother felt that it was too much to bring all the sugar to the kids. So she decided to bring a vegetable tray. I will never forget this because this is why I do not care for celery and I do not care for peppers. This is exactly where my hatred for those vegetables came from, because she brought in all of these things, no ranch, no dip, nothing, and glasses of water. Now, mind you, this was for this poor kid's birthday party, and people never let that go. I felt horrible for the kid because, all the other kids bring in treats. It's your birthday party at school. Like, live a little, have some sugar, have some fun. And this mother, and she's trying to be healthy, and bless her for that, but it was awful. And we had to sit there, and she went around and she's like, now eat your vegetables, they're good for you. And I remember eating this raw celery and raw pepper with a full glass of water. It was just, nope, never again. Let's see. Fried chicken and a biscuit cracker with cream cheese. Ooh, I bet that would be very good. Surprise balls. I don't think I've ever had those, Katie. What are those? Oh, yeah, chiclets gum. They don't have a lot of flavor, but they're kind of fun. It's a crunchy peanut butter and coconut candy. Okay, so maybe that's what it is, but whatever these little things are very good. Yeah, Katie's childhood trauma. It's those things as a kid that you always remember, and I don't know why. I do know why I remember that, because I don't care for those vegetables to this day because I had to eat them raw in school. Like, what mother does that to their poor kid? Hey, Mary Beth, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, a drink in the corner. Oh, you don't care for coconut, Delbert? Ooh, I do love coconut, I have to say. Okay, so Carrie's seen the little peanut butter things. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. We're still waiting for things to chill. So let's see. Peanut butter. They're not, I know they're not logs. Peanut butter log candy, but they're shaped like in a log. They're hard. Yeah, here they are. If you type in peanut butter candy, they come up on Amazon. So I guess you can buy them from Amazon. They're, see if I can get a picture of these. They're old-fashioned candy. They're called peanut butter bar, apparently, but they come in this striped wrapper, and they're delicious. They just melt in your mouth. They are so, so good. And this one has a star on it, and it's called peanut butter bars. Let's see. Okay, Cheryl is helping. She says 1 pack of gelatin for 2 cups liquid. Okay, so that's what we have, Cheryl, in the refrigerator. So basically, this chicken stock here, this extra chicken stock, I need to drain off of the vegetables, but not what's in the refrigerator. Cheryl to the rescue. Cheryl has done it. These little peanut butter candies are so good. And these aren't, they're Atkinson's. Okay, they're called Atkinson's peanut butter bars. They are delicious. If you guys ever run across these, they're so good. They're like an old-fashioned candy. And Scott, I don't know if Scott's still here from the old Curiosity Shop, but I got a candy jar from him, a beautiful Heisey candy jar. Scott, it's right back here. And I've had ginger snaps in it in honor of Scott, but I've been putting the peanut butter bars in there because they're really fun. Oh, you can get them at Cracker Barrel. Mary Beth saves the day. I might have to go to Cracker Barrel and hunt those things down. Let's see. Peanut butter bangers or peanut butter badgers. Let me read that again. Hey, CJ, welcome, welcome. Oh, I've never heard those called that before. We just called them the peanut butter things because I don't think we really knew what they were called. We just knew the hospital had some in their like penny candy section. But anyway, I'll have to get some more of these. They're so good. Yes, it will be great with anything, Scott. So yeah, I put things in it, and I don't know if you can see, but it's right back there. And I'll get it, guys, so you can see the candy jar up close because it is marvelous. Oh, I have some of these. Ooh, be very careful with it. I have some of these back here. I didn't realize I had refilled the jar. So yeah, here's what they are. They're little peanut butter bars. They're so good. They're Atkinson's. And then Angela sent me these amazing coffee candies. She gets them from a specialty Japanese store. But here's the candy dish. It's lovely. Check out the wheel cut design on that. Is that not just gorgeous? It is stunning. And it is Heisey. It's got the H in the diamond, which is the Heisey mark. And it has this beautiful lid. I mean, this is just a stunner of a piece. It is gorgeous. So, Scott, I love this so much. And it sits back here with all of my other depression glass on my old recipe box. So it has a wonderful home here in my kitchen, and I might be able to take you and show you because we're still letting that Jello cool down. I have not abandoned the Jello recipe. But there it is, Scott. That's where it lives. Has a wonderful home next to my apothecary scale. This is a antique French apothecary scale. And it is just gorgeous in that green color with all of the depression glass. It's very fun. And yes, all of this glass does glow. So here is my great-grandmother's refrigerator, Anchor Hocking refrigerator jar. And then we've got the Hazel Atlas coasters. Got a really beautiful flower frog. And then some amazing, there's Hazel Atlas Poppy. And, I love Georgian Lovebird pattern. That glows. Even this little toothpick, which it's probably not showing up with the light, but it glows. The cadmium in it makes it glow. And then one of my favorite patterns is Indiana Tea Room. And so I've got Indiana Tea Room here, Romanesque. There's another beautiful deco pattern. We've got Hazel Atlas Cloverleaf. This is a really cool sherbet. It's a beautiful piece here with the little clover leaves on the side. I love that design. And then, this is cool. This is Fostoria, and it's Fostoria Fountain. You don't see a lot of these, and I was lucky to find a beautiful needle-etched fountain example, and the pedestal is square, and it does glow, which is just so cool. So we've got some fun glass over here. And I've got my scale weights. Now, this flower frog is pretty cool. I'll show you this while we're waiting for our Jello to cool down. And I love, love, love this. I don't know who made it. I've been researching it and I can't find it. It's the only flower frog I've ever seen that has this textured design on the outside. It's pretty cool, so I'm very excited about that. So that is fun, and that's my little corner over there. So yeah, tea room is so cool, Scott. It's very Art Deco, and I love all things Art Deco. So that's a little tour there of my kitchen. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Hi, Mary Beth again. Yeah, the scale is very cool. That I was lucky to get that scale. I got that at Eco Relics. One of my favorite pieces in my house is in my house. I mean, it's just a really amazing buy. And the last time that scale was calibrated, because they have stickers on it to show the last time that it was calibrated. It was calibrated last in 1960. So definitely an old piece. It's probably they suspect the lady had done some research on it, and since it's French, it was hard to do a little bit of digging on it because some of the things were in French, but they were able to decipher the last time it was used in a pharmacy and calibrated was 1960. And then they found out they think it's from the late 1800s, early 1900s, is their guess, is what they told me. I have to do more research to confirm that, but I think it's a pretty cool piece and I just love it. Yeah, that flower frog is amazing. I don't know who made that. I've seen other ones now that I have that one. I've seen others in black and I think clear with that texture, but I don't know who made it. It's not Maisie. So I'm going to have to do some more digging on it, which is going to be kind of a fun research project in the future, but I haven't gotten to that yet. Okay, so let's check on what's in the refrigerator, see if it's cooling down. I know that it really has to be cool because I learned this last time. Hey, Linda, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so let me go check on that. I'll be back in a jiffy. We'll see if it's cooling down. It's getting cool, so I'm going to give it just like another minute or two to get really cold because I want it to not be what it was last time, which was runny and weird. It didn't quite set up last time, so we're just going to have a chat while that happens. And let's see what else I can show you while I'm here and we're just hanging out. Let's see. We have a couple of other cool things I've got sitting near me to show. Is I have these amazing paperboard cups from Coca-Cola, and these came out of a vending machine. And this is so cool. So this is the fishtail sign. So I would assume it's from the 1960s. And look, it's made by the Sweetheart Cup Company, and it's got all of the starbursts on it. And then this one's got the things go better with Coke. It's a smaller size with the starburst as well. So this was kind of a fun find. I may send one of these to Vinny because I know Vinny's been looking for one of these cups. So I've got two of them. The other thing that I have nearby that I can show you, I have a beautiful Fostoria compote. So let me show you that. This is Fostoria in the June pattern, and it is lovely. It's a beautiful and topaz. And look at the etching on it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The etching on that is stunning. Love this compote. So this sits on the middle of my counter. And I have these beautiful little sugar tongs. These were my great grandmother's. And it's funny because we were going through the house and we found the dining room table. And my mom and I picked up one of the sides of it. And we're like, something seems kind of rattly in there. So my mom and I are like, is there a loose screw? We didn't know what was going on. So we opened the table. We found that there was a drawer in the table, like a hidden drawer. Nobody knew was there. And these sugar tongs were in it, along with some beautiful little spoons, some jam spoons. So that was kind of a fun find. So I have those on my little compote there. And, I've got another piece of Fostoria. This is fun. I have a matching pair of these candlesticks. I love Fostoria glass. And these are in the Baroque pattern. So we've got the Baroque candlesticks, and then they've got the Lido etch on the bottom. Check out that etch. Is that not just beautiful? I'm sorry if they're a little bit dusty. When you have a pug, it is hard to keep everything perfectly dusty. So that's some gorgeous glass there. And I have not figured out yet who makes this, but I am working on it. I have been doing research on this celery bowl, and let me dump the stuff that's in it, and we'll take it out so I can show you guys. I've got some little tiny pieces of things. This is a beautiful celery dish. This was my great-grandmother's, and I think, I cannot confirm 100%, but I think it is American Brilliant glass. The way that I know that is these edges here are razor sharp. I mean, they will slice your hand open sharp. So I really do believe that this is brilliant glass. It's like a rainbow prism effect when you look at it. Now, there are a lot of companies that did this, the HUCKSTERs with the pinwheels and the arches. So I'm not 100% sure. I've got books on early American brilliant glass. Early American cut glass and then American brilliance glass. And I have not truly been able to identify this pattern. So if anybody knows, let me know. But this is a pretty cool little piece, and I'm very lucky to have. I don't know why there were so many celery dishes back in the day. I guess because people were putting it in all of these weird Jello molds. Jello was actually invented very early on. Jello is not something that we think about. Jello as something from the 1950s, but it's actually invented pretty early. And there's actually a Jello museum. So if you want to visit the Jello museum, you can visit the Jello museum. I think it's in New York somewhere. They have a whole museum on Jello, the history of Jello. Jello advertising apparently is quite collectible, and they used to have Jello on the side of horse-drawn carriages. Now, there's a wonderful wagon. It's called the Jello wagon, and it has Jello hand-painted on the side, and a horse would have pulled the giant wagon part of it. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's at the Jello Museum. It's antique, of course. And let me show you this Jello wagon. When I discovered it, it's so cool. Let's see, history. So if you type in just history of Jello, and you make sure not to get Jello salad, but just like history of Jello, the Jello Gallery Museum will come up. And so here it is. Here's the website, jellogallery.com, or .org rather. And here's the history of Jello. So it says, there's always room for Jello. This is the campaign slogan of a simple gelatin dessert that today is known as America's most famous dessert. The success story is one the result of advertising and merchandising methods and new and different, never before employed. Salesmen, well-trained, well-groomed, and well-versed in the art of selling, went out into the spanking rigs drawn by horses, into roads, by roads, fairs, country gatherings, church socials, parties to advertise their product. First came team-drawn wagons. Yes, team-drawn wagons, to be followed by smart auto cars, pictures, posters, and billboards over the American landscape, as well as page ads and magazines, carried the Jello Girl and the 6 delicious flavors to the American home. In 1845, Peter Copper dabbled with and patented a product which was set as gelatin. Suffice it to say, it never did gel with the American public. In 1897, Pearl Waite, a carpenter in Leroy, was putting up a cough remedy and laxative tea in his home. He experimented with gelatin and came up with a fruit-flavored dessert, and his wife, May, named it Jello. He tried to market his product but lacked the capital and experience. And in 1899, he sold the trademark to a fellow showman for the sum of $450. $450. The buyer already had some success in manufacturing and selling, and he was one of the best-known manufacturers of proprietary medicines. Operator Frank Woodward was born in North Job, and that was exactly what the story pertains. So interesting, a little history on Jello. It goes on about Jello. You can read about it, and of course, there's a whole there's a Jello trivia page. Jello Jello trivia. Oh man. Okay, so this might have to come back to a episode of if we do another one of those Jeopardies. Let's see. The first four Jello flavors were orange, lemon, strawberry, and raspberry. When was lime introduced? Does anyone know when the lime Jello was introduced? During an air show at the Woodward Airport, one of the contestants involved having a pilot land a plane, run up to a table, and he ran. They're English here. It says run up. It should be ran up, I think. Ran up to a table and eat a bowl of Jello, and then run back to the plane and take off. Okay, fruits that float. Fresh fruits such as apples, bananas, orange, grapefruit sections, and sliced peaches and pears, strawberries, and fruit are packed into light syrup using Jello. That is fascinating. Okay, so what is the Jello flavor? I'll give you a hint. It was introduced in 1930. It was introduced in 1930. Does anybody know? You can guess in the chat. But okay, so this might have to come up on Jeopardy again. So if you were paying attention to this live, tuck this away in your hat for a future Jeopardy episode. So actually, lime Jello. Yep. And Scott got it. Lime flavored Jello was introduced in 1930. That's right. Good guess, tropical punch, but not exactly it, Mary Beth, but good try. Okay, well, we have not missed too many crazy things, TC, because we are still waiting in the fridge for that to cool off. In fact, I'm going to check on it now. It was about cool, so I think we're ready to continue on with our recipe here. And I found, ironically, while I was dumping out that little dish to show you guys, I found a whole bunch of miniatures. So I meant to send these to Gabby in her mystery junk jar, and I was looking for these and I couldn't find them. Well, Gabby, here they are. So they are coming to you, these little miniatures, for your junk jar. So that was a happy accident. I knew I had put them someplace safe, so I'm glad I found those. Anyway, here is, okay, yeah, I think we're totally cooled off now. So we have exactly what Cheryl recommended. And it's already starting to get a little bit jelly. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's a little bit. It's still viscous, but it's a little bit jelly. So I think we're good to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is drain some of the liquid, not from here, but I'm going to drain some of the liquid out of the shrimp and our vegetable mixture, because I think that this is just too much liquid. So we are going to carefully pour some of that out, the chicken stock. And I think that might have been used for flavor. We'll leave a little bit in. So right now in your bowl, doesn't that just look so doggone delicious? I don't know about that, but we got it. And it has been marinating, so there should be a really nice flavor to all of this. And now we're going to pour it in our mold with the Jello. So I'm going to mix this Jello in here with our wonderful shrimp and all of that. That just looks so good. And let's see. Hazel Atlas produced tiny little green Jello cups in 1930. At the same time, lime Jello hit the market. Oh my gosh, Scott, that is totally interesting. I'll have to remember that. I might have to put that in. We might have to have a Jello Jeopardy category. How fun would that be? Okay, let's see. Reporting back. My celery dish is as sharp as my Chihuahua's teeth. Let's see. Tim says, I got ice cream when my tonsils were removed. Do they even take tonsils out anymore? You know, I don't know, Tim. That's a good question. I should check my Jello dessert bowls for the Hazel Atlas mark. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm thinking, Scott, since you just mentioned that, I'm thinking, is this a Jello cup? This might be what you're talking about. I have a little uranium Hazel Atlas. There's the Hazel Atlas mark, the H and the A. Is this it? This looks like a little Jello cup, a little lime Jello cup. That would be so fascinating if that's what this is. Holy cow. I'm always loving to learn things. This is just great. I think that is so cool. So that is awesome. If that is what that is, it might very well be. So very cool. That, oh, Scott's saying yes. Oh, that's so awesome. I have a little Jello cup. That's it. Oh my gosh, that is so cool, Scott. Thanks. That is so fascinating. I love learning things. Okay, so let's get everything together. Now I'm going to put the eggs in last so I can kind of place them around. But right now what we've got is our Jello, which we had worked out. You need 2 cups of liquid to the Jello. And so what I did was part water and part chicken stock because that's what they wanted. So here's what we've got in our dish. I'm going to pour it into my vintage Tupperware Jello mold. Thanks to Daniel, I now have one. This looks to be about the right amount of liquid. Now I have let all of that set up in the refrigerator so that way it's cold. So once you make the Jello and you put the hot liquid in it, you want it to be cold. Otherwise, it's not going to set up properly. And I learned that last time. And all of this Jello stuff is a learning experience. Now, I still think we need to add our eggs in so we can kind of place them where we want them. So what I'm going to do now, and let me see if I can tilt the screen down a little bit so you guys can see what I have. So I've got the Jello mold here. So there it is. And now I'm going to place the eggs. What we've got are these eggs that we've cut and sliced it. I'm going to place them around the outside. So that way, when we turn the mold over, we have that really pretty egg design. So I'm just going to kind of shove them in, spaced evenly apart. Problem is they do break a little bit. So maybe that's why they didn't do totally hard boiled. But then the other recipe I found had hard boiled. So we'll have to see how that goes. So yeah, I think actually doing all 6 eggs was perfect because they'll be just enough to go around the outside of the mold like this. Oh man, this just looks so vomit worthy. It smells absolutely atrocious. The shrimp and the chicken stock is a very bizarre combination. And the eggs, this is just not going to be that great, I don't think. Okay, now I've saved this other egg so I could garnish the top because they also had a little bit of garnish on the top. So let's do that. I'll try to do some slices to garnish the top a little bit and make it pretty. So we'll do slices like open like this around well, this will be the bottom, I guess, so that you get egg at the bottom too. But I'm just going to put them in like this, doing the best that I can. It's not going to be perfect, but it will be something. So there we are. Okay. Doesn't that just look so yummy, yummy, delicious? And I made sure to spread out the vegetables so that like everything's kind of even. And this should set up beautifully in the fridge. So this should be just fantastic. So what you're going to do now, once you have all of this into your mold, and a lot of this is very simple, it's just a waiting game, is you're going to put your lid on. Now, when you do this, you want to burp the Tupperware. Yes, I know that's an absolutely gross thing, but that's the correct term. Burp the Tupperware. So push down on that little center groove and literally burp it as you're closing it so that there's no air in it. Yes, my grandmother taught me about burping the Tupperware, and then you can open it again and shut it down. And that's what that little ring in the center for Tupperware is for, so you know where to hold and press so you can burp it. So that's very exciting. Okay, guys, we have our mold. Oh my gosh, this looks so bad. I am in for a not so yummy treat tonight. I can't say I'm really looking forward to this, but I hope, folks, that this is fun. You guys enjoyed hanging out. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator so it can start setting up, but it already had that nice kind of jelly consistency that we were looking for. It seemed to be right. We finally got the measurement right, because I don't know why, but the Knox box, I talked about this earlier, it does not have instructions on how to make the Jello. Like if you just wanted to make it without making like enough for a party, because it says here you could use the 4 packages of these things to make whatever recipe this is on the back. But see, they don't actually tell you, if you're just going to use 1 package, how do you actually make this? So they don't have the information there, which is really weird. Now the Jello box does. It gives you directions, but that's if you're making this entire thing of lemon Jello. So I don't really know why they don't do that. And any of the recipes you'll find for the shrimp Jello, there's different ingredients in it. So what I did is I subbed out the broccoli for the eggs, because there were recipes that had hard-boiled eggs in them, and that was the one you guys voted on. So I just subbed out the broccoli for the eggs, because the original picture I found did not have a recipe attached to it. It was just a photo. So that's what I used. And then, of course, it did have the mixed vegetables, so I included a can of mixed vegetables. So basically all you need is a package of cold hard-boiled eggs, package of cold peeled, deveined, and cooked shrimp. Now you can get shrimp and cook it yourself, but why go to all that trouble? A can of mixed vegetables, and then you will need a package of Knox unflavored gelatin, and a whole carton, because we used a lot of this, a whole carton of chicken broth. So that's about 3.5 cups. And then you will need a Jello mold, obviously a knife, some measuring cups, and a bowl so you can kind of transfer ingredients around in while everything is cooling off. And now we're going to get this into the fridge. So this will be resting comfortably in the fridge. It will get all chilled. Hopefully it will be a nice mold, so like I can actually demold it and it will look, well, it will look like nasty shrimp Jello, but at least it will be sort of pretty, kind of. I don't know. We'll see. And then it will be ready to go for tonight. So make sure you tune back in tonight at 7 o'clock. I will be joined by the fabulous Patrick over at Trusty Huckster Mercantile, and we will be trying our gelatinous creations together. Now, I made the shrimp Jello, and Patrick made something with SpaghettiOs and Vienna sausages, which looks absolutely horrible. But Patrick is such a dear and good friend to come on to celebrate 2000 with me and make Jello creation and try it with me live. So if you want to come back for the hilarious taste test, be ready to grab some screenshots. That's tonight at 7 on my channel, before Vintage Rescue Squad and all the other events for the evening kickoff. So that will be a fun little cocktail party before you go to all the other parties later on in our vintage community. And I am really looking forward to trying this. Not really. I'm just kidding. I'm not looking forward to trying it. It looks absolutely vomit worthy, but we're going to see. Maybe it will surprise me. Maybe it will be good. Who knows? Never know. You got to try it. Try it. You might like it, is what my stepmom used to say to me. So maybe I will try it and maybe I will like it, but I highly doubt that. We will see. So I'm going to get this puppy in the refrigerator. I'm going to clean up and get things going for the day. But I will see you guys later at 7 tonight. Thank you all for tuning in this morning for a fun little hangout. I know it wasn't super involved. It wasn't as technical as the recipe I did with Nate. That is always a fun cook. If you want to watch that video while you're waiting for the Jello tasting today, you can go check out that video on my channel. Nate and I did a fun cook video, and it was really delicious. It was way better than this Jello. So that was a fun video to make, and it's really detailed and really involved, and hopefully shows you guys that I can cook a lot better than I do when I make this Jello, because I feel like I'm bumbling about, like, I don't know how much of this to put in. I promise I can do much better than the Jello. And if you ever come to visit me, I promise I will not serve you Jello. I won't make you eat this nasty stuff. Well, guys, that's going to do it for me today. I will see you again at 7 tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Get some lunch that's way better than this Jello. And I hope, as always, folks, that you will stay in, stay safe, and bench YouTube. Bye-bye now.
What?